Martin, what we do know is a match that you'll be greatly interested in, of course, your beloved Arsenal going against Aston Villa. As you rightly said earlier on, two of your former clubs, but we know, I would think, really where your heart lies.
Sweated
course,
blood for Villa, let's not
Gunners.
forget that. Let's not forget that.
You sweated blood for Villa,
Certainly
did you?
3 or 4 broken noses there, so yes.
Did you? Look at me.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, I can see
Yes.
that. So, 4:30 Sunday afternoon, Arsenal against Aston Villa. What we do know is it marks Unai Emery's 1,000th game as a manager. One time of Arsenal, now of Aston Villa, and of course a very popular manager of Aston Villa as well. Martin, there was a time though that there was a lot of expectation around what Unai Emery may or may not achieve when he joined Arsenal in the summer of 2018. Emery was hard to replace the departing Arsene Wenger. Around that time, he was asked, all right, Arsenal, what can we expect from you?
First, we want to continue the good things this team they were doing, and then work with our idea and transmit our style. But above all, watch it today. One team, they transmit all the supporter energy, transmit passion, and also with the tactical things in the pitch against the best team. Last year here in the Premier, the Manchester City, who is now our level.
So what we know is this: Unai Emery, he left in 2019, November 2019, with his reputation pretty much in tatters. He has the third highest win percentage in Arsenal's history, 55%, Martin, behind Wenger and Arteta. He reached a Europa League final, but as I say, he left after it had all gone pear-shaped. Was Unai Emery merely a victim of circumstances, do you think, at Arsenal? What happened?
A little bit. I think they knew the pedigree of the manager coming in. I think it was always going to be very difficult to replace Arsene Wenger. I think there were a lot of structural problems within the club. Wenger had a lot of power, and I think that Ivan Gazidis wanted to take that away and put certain people in certain departments. So there was a bit of a change taking place. In that first season, they were in the 4th position for a large part of it and then missed out right at the end. And then, of course, he got to a UEFA Cup final, pretty well the first one he's ever lost. So, and that hasn't happened to him very often. He's been remarkably successful at Aston Villa. So it would be ironic in a way if he were to try to finish off Arsenal's season, because that's what it would be. It's a very big week for Arsenal. They can't take their eye off this one. I do feel Arsenal, though, in really good form. I do feel those 2 extra days rest. Ollie Watkins, though, 25 goals, in remarkable form right now for Aston Villa. I'm hoping that Arsenal get the win they need.
But to catch up with what you said there, if Villa win at the Emirates, does that finish Arsenal's domestic charge?
It'd be pretty well impossible to get back into it when you've got 2 other front runners there as well, in the shape of Man City and Liverpool. We've said many weeks ago, Arsenal now, 10 wins from 11. So they're doing it, Jim. They're not faltering. They're doing it. They know what's ahead of them. But Emery is a very tactically, he's very stubborn. He's very difficult to play against. I don't know if it was everyone's cup of tea as a manager at Arsenal. Quite often he would change his team quite randomly to get results. By and large, they played decent football. There was big decisions to be made at that football club, and he didn't seem to be the one necessarily wanted to make them.
Simon, the way I see it, Emery would love to take Villa there and win. He'd love to go there and beat Arsenal and get one over at Arteta. And when you look at it, certainly in Europe, they've won all 6 of their home matches in the Conference League so far, and they beat Lille last night. So they've got a 2-1. It's a narrow first leg lead, but it's a lead.
Yeah.
And they go in having had a pretty darn good run in the Premier League this season, which is still ongoing.
Yeah.
I just wonder if this is an opportunity that Emery thinks, well, this isn't going to come round again. Let's go out there and let's beat Arsenal. Let's do it. And I've got a feeling something tells me that they might just do that. Villa might cause Arsenal problems.
No, I don't see that. I think Arsenal are a very, very good side. I think Villa have improved remarkably. I've made the case earlier on that I think Spurs are going to get the top 4, the last berth in the top 4. So it's got nothing to do. I'm a big fan of Aston Villa. Doug Ellis, as you know, I've said on a number of occasions, I was very fond of. I think they're a big football club. I think Unai Emery's done a great job.
Yeah.
I think Arsenal are a better side, and I think Arsenal at the Emirates will beat Aston Villa. They're a better team than Aston Villa. So if Arsenal turn up, which they will,
they're a better team than Aston Villa.
Yeah, of course they are.
Their away tables tell me they're not too shabby, by the way, Villa. They're fourth in the table, Jim.
And that's fine.
Yeah,
but if
they're
Arsenal,
fifth at the moment.
if Arsenal can't beat Aston Villa when they've got this amount of games left in the season to go, they're top of the league, their destiny's in their own hands, then they're not the side I think they are.
But
they are the side I think
Watkins,
they are.
a player you love, now scored 25 goals for Villa in all competition this season.
He's a player I like. He's a good player. I'm not sure he's a top player. I think when he gets up to international level, I don't think he looks like an international footballer. I think he's done really well for Aston Villa. I don't think that you'll see Ollie Watkins score 25 goals a season in the Premier League going forward or anything like that if he finishes with that amount of goals in the Premier League. But I think at this moment in time, Villa, as a sum of all its parts, from manager to the team, to the captain John McGinn, to all the players that are on the pitch, have done a really good job, and they're a very good side. But I think this one is a stretch to suggest that Arsenal, with the game, with the way that they're playing, besides certain aspects of the performance against Bayern Munich, who, despite all our observations, aren't any mugs. And Harry Kane was a different class against Arsenal.
Best I've seen anyone play against the two central defenders.
It was like Bergkamp. It was like Bergkamp, watching Bergkamp, a version of Bergkamp, some of the balls he knocked off. And I think Villa don't have that. And I think Arsenal, on it, with their fan base at it, with their destiny in their hands, will have too much with Villa.
Well, I'm just looking. Kamara's been a big loss, I think, for Aston Villa. They're playing with Tielemans now in there. Rodgers is coming in. McGinn, though, is the player. We scored a wonderful goal last night, Jim. So let's not discount Villa. I think Bailey is another one. Been really impressed with him. Interviewed him after the previous round in the Conference Europa League. And I was really impressed with him. They're intelligent, they're quick. Diaby didn't play last night, came off the bench. So there's might be some freshness in there, but I just think the game catches up with them. I don't like the Thursday nights. You know that, the way I feel about it, in terms of player welfare. They'll only get 2 days to prepare for the game, or 3 days, but 2 less than Arsenal. So I see Arsenal winning.
We're going to finish the show actually today on a bit of player welfare, which will please you, Martin. But there's a Unai Emery fan. Emery was 1 point off top 4. Europa League, Europa final. Toxicity within the club. He brought in Martinelli. He gave Saka his debut. Smith Rowe came in as well. Arsenal's loss has been Villa's gain. Maybe. Do you know? Maybe.
Yeah, which is why this is why he was appointed in the first place. He went off to PSG. He's Villarreal. Mm-hmm. He did really well there. He won the Europa League while he was there as well. So there's good pedigree there, Jim. There's no one's disputing that. And I just think maybe this is the right club, right time in terms of Aston Villa for him. Maybe Arsenal was the wrong time for him.
Okay, Arsenal against Aston Villa. Another huge test for Arteta and Arsenal. But Simon, as you say, who's to say they don't come through it?
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.